As a man, you need to have struggle in your life. I want you guys to actually sit and think, what struggle are you going through daily? What struggle are you undertaking? What struggle are you trying to overcome? Because you should make a list of them. I can know for myself, every single day I wake up and I train physically. Every single day I have to go through X amount of physical pain when my day begins. That is a struggle that must be completed. Then I must try and keep my massive empire online, see my children, take care of everybody. There's struggle involved. My life is difficult. Difficult lives are fulfilling because we used to have to hunt and fish and go out there and go through difficulty to survive. Truthfully, a man, I believe, is being able to do the things that are hard or do things you don't want to do because you're supposed to do them. I think it's what a man's always been. A man is supposed to be strong. He needs to be strong, so he has to become strong. That's his job. A man is supposed to be brave. It's not that you can't feel fear. It's that you have to be brave. Oh, an attacker's here. I'm afraid, but I'm a man, so I will go and engage the attacker. It is my job. And now we're teaching men, you don't have to do what you don't feel like doing. You can do what you do feel like doing. So how do you find happiness? Happiness is in struggle. The struggle and the size of the struggle you're facing, along with how important it is and how important you feel it is deep in your heart, is directly correlated to how successful and how happy you're going to feel all of the time. Struggle is extremely important for a man, and you should be looking to inject struggle into your life permanently. For a man, your contentment will come from your purpose, and it will come from your competence, and it will come from succeeding objectives. It will come from completing difficult things that other people cannot complete. It will never come from the easily accessible hedonism, which you have confused for fun. If everybody can do it, you shouldn't want to do it. If everybody can go to that concert, you shouldn't want to go. If everybody can go to that club, you shouldn't want to go. You should only want to do things others can't do. The only fun I have is doing things I know you're not allowed to do. So you need to sit there and go, all right, I'm being asked to do something fun. Who else can do this? And if the answer is everybody, stop. This is actually why people are addicted to video games. Young men are addicted to video games because it mimics virtually what they ought to be doing in the real world.
Yeah.
Effort in to upgrade their character, to become a better version of themselves so they can do better things than they could previously do and explore new areas of the map. You understand this in video games, and you do it in video games because it's very interesting to do. However, you don't want to do it in the real world. But in the real world, it's so much more rewarding. And I actually going to argue that we're living in one of the final periods where that's true. I'd say in a few generations, who you are and who your physical body is may not matter nearly as much.
No, but it does matter today. A lot.
Exactly. So that's why you should enjoy it while you can. I believe you lift, stretch, move, improve your body, try and train MMA, learn how to fight, get stronger, get bigger muscles. It's a fast track to self-discipline, which will carry over into all other endeavors. And I would argue that is nearly impossible. In fact, how many people can say the gym saved their life? How many people do you know were depressed, started training, got in fantastic shape, and weren't depressed anymore? It is very easy. The low-hanging fruit is your body and upgrading your body. That is the easiest struggle, which is never going to backfire on you and never going to be a negative towards any other facet of your life. I often see that when I speak to people who are they end up being unhappy.
Yeah.
You can't entertain yourself to happiness. You must earn happiness. You must climb a mountain. You must struggle yourself to happiness. That's extremely important. There must be physical, mental, social, creative, some kind of spiritual struggle. And those things being satisfied is what's going to satisfy you. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a mathematical equation. You solve the equation, you get a Bitcoin. Life is very much the same. There's struggles, there's difficulties which you have undertaken, which you have adopted to try and complete, and when you finish those things, then you get satisfaction as a reward. That's the Bitcoin. The only other alternative to that to feel good is hedonism, and that's not going to satisfy you for very long, and it's also going to destroy your life. So it's extremely important. If you're injecting struggle, and that struggle, solving those problems lead to a positive place, once you become addicted to it, you're going to become a machine of monumental achievement. There are some very simple basic things you can do. Weight training, chess, having debates, trying your very best to take care of your mother, retire her, make sure that your people who you love are taken care of. You need goals and resistance and something to fight against to live well. Because the distance between pain and joy is what we experience. If you only have joy all of the time and no pain, you are not going to be happy. You don't need fun. Fun is the vector from which Satan operates. Every time you look at something which is fun, It's all just hedonistic. There's no money to be made. You don't retire your mother. You don't help the world. You don't give to charity. You don't become stronger. You don't become wiser. You don't learn anything. Experiences are unique. Jail was a unique experience. Bunch of fun. Unique. Life's not about fun as a man. Life is about doing the right thing because it must be done. Now, there are some things that are fun which can be earned. And there are some things which are fun that you could do, which perhaps involve skill. Driving a supercar around a racetrack is fun. It involves skill. You have to be good at what you do. Cool. But a lot of this fun that is easily accessible to everyone, because not everybody can get a Ferrari on a closed racetrack. I can, you can't, because you're poor. You do not need fun until you've already reached the highest possible echelon. So this whole idea that you need fun in your life, you don't. What you need is purpose. You need discipline. You need hard work. You need things to do which are going to benefit you and the others around you. You need duty. You need obligations. And you need performance metrics. You need people around you who are going to hold you accountable. You're nobodies. You're not important. Nobody knows who you are. You're not physically strong. You're not financially wealthy. You have bigger concerns. Your obsession with fun is holding you back. These things you think are fun aren't fun. I think that getting rich when you're young as a man is probably one of the worst things that can happen. You don't want to get rich to your late 20s. You want to spend all your 20s broke and grinding. Broke, grinding, training. If I had money at 18, 19, I would have skipped so many experiences and so many hard lessons. I'd be a fraction of the man I am today. So I don't like the idea of kids just gambling and getting lucky. Now, that's the worst thing that can happen to a young man. He's skipping all the struggle, all the pain and suffering he's going to attempt to skip with money. He's going to end up suffering more in the end, but he's going to just lose. And the reason they're sitting at home, even if they don't admit to these ailments, wondering why they're so unhappy all the time, is because you're fighting an internal battle. Your monologue is different in your mind from what your spirit truly wants. You want to be respected. You want to be strong. You want to stand up for what you know is right. You want to be a man, and you're just too afraid to engage the enemy, so you're going to self-destruct. You're going to turn on yourself. There's a fire inside of you. There's a fire inside of absolutely every man, and you can either direct it at your enemy and do your very best to destroy him, or it's going to burn inside of you and eat you alive. You have to make a choice. The cowardice that you feel that prevents you from engaging the enemy is the biggest betrayal, because now you're just engaging yourself. The battle's certain either way. So I strongly recommend you find who the enemy is and direct your efforts towards their destruction, as opposed to sitting there allowing yourself to self-immolate. Everyone's heard work smart, not hard, right? That's bullshit. It's a lie. That's a lie. Because trying to work smart, not hard is what he described, and it's just a different form of laziness. Because in the hyper-competitive environment, you need someone who works smart and hard. Don't be an idiot. You want to work as smart as possible, but you should still work as hard as possible on top. If you're competing against the entire world, you want to work as intelligently as you can, so your time is efficiently used, but then you want to use all of your time so that you win, right? If you used to make $1,000 in a day, and then someone shows you how to make $1,000 in an hour, that doesn't mean that you take all day off. That means that you now make $12,000 a day, because you take the intelligent work and you just amplify it out across working hard. So trying to always find a way to work smart is one of the biggest mistakes people make. I have a fairly large company. We make quite a lot of money. I have 110 people who work for me. We fire 10 people a month. Me and Luke. Luke's ruthless. Don't let him underestimate Luke. It's like, fuck him. This guy, he's out. Or he'll like mute one guy in the chat, and the guy won't even really know he's muted. And then Luke will come back and say, it's been a month, he's been muted, no one's even commented that he hasn't been around, no one cares, he's out. Luke's ruthless, bro. We're firing people, but we're trying to become more and more efficient, not so we can do less work, but so our time is worthwhile. So there's no such thing as working smart and not working hard. You have to do both, all of the time, if you want to win. Just keep that in mind, because you just described trying to work smart, and it's another form of laziness, another form of You and your friends need to have friendly competition at all times. Now, you need to meet your friends, and you need to have banter and competition around things that matter. Who's got the most money? Who's worked hardest? Who's discovered XYZ? Crypto, stock, new way of generating income? Who's trained that day? Who has the most children? Put some actual competitions together that matter and start competing and being around people, because you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody knows this. So why don't you get some genuine metrics that will improve your life? You won't have time to stand around cooking meals if you're friends with somebody who works out for 3 hours a day, for example, because you're going to need to find 3 hours a day to train to beat him, which means you're going to have to just eat that rotisserie chicken as you do squats, like a man should. Live with men you're in competition with. This is ultra important because you can measure yourself against your circle. Get your act together. Get some genuine metrics, things that matter. And once they're all put together, you're going to live in a naturally competitive environment, which is going to increase your testosterone level. It's going to prevent you from doing a lot of dumb shit. And the competition one's great, because you can apply it to everything. Masculine competition is fun. I think what's fun as a man is being the best at anything, right? So I live in a very masculine environment because masculine competition drives you forward. We all work together. We all work inside of the company, and we're very successful. But I don't really know what's fun anymore. I just feel like nothing's really fun anymore besides working hard, or you need an activity which is so adrenaline filled that it distracts you, which is why I love driving fast cars and fighting. It's the only time I'm not thinking about work. Yeah, so I'm happy just to get my work done, and maybe I'm starting to get old after all. I'm 37, I'm getting old. I see my kids, I do my emails, I train hard, maybe go for a drive with the car, maybe get a coffee. That's it. Oh, he doesn't go to the gym because of XYZ, or he feels down. That's fine, but he needs to go to the gym. So we can talk about all the reasons he doesn't go forever. That's a very long, lifelong conversation, but he needs to go. So we've removed the needs, and we've removed the hard facts and the duty and the honor and the commitment, and we've replaced it all with this subjectiveness. And there's nothing more subjective than feelings. How I feel inside on a day I say I'm happy might be the exact same way someone feels inside on the day they say they're sad, because their expectation might be higher for happy because they only think they're happy when they're running around laughing like a child. I don't really give a shit how the men I know feel, because they have things they need to do. And as long as they're going to do them like they're supposed to do them, I don't really care that much. And if they were to come to me and say they feel down about something and they had a good reason, I wouldn't be insensitive. That's fine. But we're talking about a death of a family member or something, and we're talking about 1 or 2 days until you just get back to life. You have things to do. And when I look at men who are physical specimens, I think everyone naturally does this, but I'm going to openly say it. I respect them differently than I look at men who aren't. I have a different level of respect for them because they show me they have discipline. They show me they have motivation. They show me they're capable of doing difficult and hard things. Those are the kind of people I trust. They're not afraid of struggle. They're problem solvers. People who train are problem solvers, and you need to become one, and you need to become very, very adept at solving problems pretty quickly. Do you not understand how intimidating that is when they look at a group of people and they all look like superheroes, and they can tell they're all disciplined, all hardworking, all dedicated, all physically strong? The struggle is what's beautiful about it. That's the most important thing. That's what you have to understand. First, you want to become as strong as physically possible. So you want to be as strong as physically possible. Next, you want to try and make as much money as possible. Not even necessarily for the money, although money is extremely important because it allows you to take care of yourself. We talked about this before, but there's the challenge involved, and solving that challenge is going to make you feel more satisfied as a human. Happiness comes from success, and making money is success. You should try and make people around you smile and be happy. You should try and encourage positivity around you. You should be the kind of person that no one can really complain about their struggles around, because they know that you're the person who's going to be like, why are you complaining when you could just simply fix it? I think if you take these approaches, if you take the approach of manifesting what you want so you're constantly motivated, and understanding all the bad things that happen to you are just a lesson and one day you're going to get over it, it's pretty easy to be a happy, contented, balanced person. I don't think there's any serious magic to happiness. I think it's a choice, and it's pretty easy to do. I think the unhappiest people in the world don't have any struggle at all. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do, if they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it, and they're trying their very best, and they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps the people who are born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life, and they have no objectives to try and conquer, are truly the miserable ones. Perhaps we're built for struggle. Perhaps the human mind and soul and spirit is built to struggle. Perhaps we're built to suffer. I know me as a man, I'm happiest when I suffer. Why did the emperors we discussed earlier constantly try and expand their empires? Because they wanted to struggle. Yeah. They wanted difficulty. Would you play a video game if it was easy? If you could never die? I mean, cheats get boring pretty quick. You play it because it's hard. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to struggle with it. You're supposed to suffer with it. So I think a lot of people confuse these things, and they sit and say, this is really making me unhappy. Or, if I woke up and everything was just perfect, that'd be great for a few weeks. But if you just wake up and nothing ever goes wrong, I think that'd be quite depressing in its own way. That's the beauty of life, is the up and the down, because there's no light without dark. If I say something, I stick to it. I believe that your word is your bond, and you should stick to everything you say. So for me, the simplest life hack is to make sure I never see myself as a liar. If I say something, I'm going to do it. So if I say I'm going to run a marathon, I now have the energy to run the marathon because I don't want to bring my word to myself. Which the hack to that is I don't need the energy to run the marathon. I need the energy to say I'll run a marathon, which is a lot less. But once I've said it, I have to do it. So if I look at something and I don't want to do it, and I think that looks too hard to do, I'll tell Tristan or I'll tell someone close to me I'm going to do it. So now I have to do it. Just be brutally honest with yourself all the time. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make the correct move on the chessboard. If you think you're better than you are or worse than you are, you're going to make mistakes. You need to know exactly where you are. Manifestation is real, but not because your mind manages to magically attract the things you want. I think it just reminds you of what you really want, and it allows you to find energy all the time. If you manifest yourself having a perfect physique, you're going to be a lot more motivated in the gym. It's not the thought that makes the physique, it's the gym that makes the physique. However, the manifestation makes you want to go to the gym. So I do believe that if you understood the power of your thoughts, you'd never think negatively ever again. But I think manifestation works in another way. I also think that once you understand all of the bad things and good things that come into your life are a perfect plan from God himself, you're going to be a lot less affected by the bad things. If something bad happens to you, it's part of God's plan. He knows what he's doing. In the end, you're going to be happy it happened. I often ask people, is there anything bad that's happened to you in the past at the time you were distraught about that you now wish didn't even happen? So if you understand you're always going to get there eventually, why be upset about it now, right? If you know in a year from now you'll be glad it happened, why be upset about it happening now? You have to be cerebral enough about things.
I clear my emails. I've trained hard that day. I've made a couple $1 million. I've checked on all the people I love, all the people I care about. I've donated some money to charity. My children are fed. Their mothers are taken care of. Everything is in order. Everything is in its proper place. That is fun. If you say to me, Andrew, skip a portion of that organization and professionalism so that we can go and do something that everyone else can do, my answer will be no. That does not sound fun to me. And the fact that you think that's fun shows that you have a severe mental deficiency. Stay away from it. You're only going to find actual fun through purpose. You're only going to find purpose through exceptionalism. So you need to become the best possible version of yourself in all realms. That's extremely important. The reason you are so unhappy is because you are trying to have fun. You're unhappy because you're trying to have fun instead of trying to become important. They are very different things, and you're never going to feel satisfied in your heart unless you become important. Please imagine, and I don't state this with arrogance, please imagine for a second you're the most Googled man on the planet. And you're a kickboxing world champion, and you have hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're built like a tank. Imagine how you feel when you look in the mirror. Nothing can match that, and nothing can beat that.
The thing that people struggle with most, especially men, is that we only learn lessons the hard way. That's the problem. You want to be good at learning lessons the easy way, which is really paying attention and making sure the feedback you're receiving, you need to be perceptive to it so that it doesn't have to be so hard-hitting. You need to be the kind of person who goes out for a drive and his wheels slide a bit and he slows down. But what people typically do is they go out for a drive, their wheels slide a little bit, they continue, and then they crash. And then they realize I should have slowed down once they hit a tree. They only learn the hard way. But when they got the easy little bits of feedback, they didn't want to pay attention to them because it was easy and they thought they got away with it. And it's the same with a relationship and the same with everything else. There's little bits of feedback. You go, okay, this is going to be a problem later on if I continue. But they ignore that part. They wait for it all to blow up and go wrong. And then they learn. So men only learn the hard way. Action solves all things. Time solves all things. God solves all things. And to sit around and be obsessed with feelings is highly feminine. I don't like that energy around me. If I feel sad, I don't cry. Just get on with life. It's the adult mentality. So I'm not sure. Feelings don't cross my mind, if that makes sense. They don't cross my mind because they don't affect my day. So it doesn't change anything. So I have other things to think about.
People are afraid of accepting there's a problem because then they know they have a responsibility towards fixing it. Yeah. And they don't want to do anything, one, because they're lazy, and two, because they're afraid they might lose. So they'd rather pretend there's no problem at all. And I think I often say to people in a lot of my videos about a lot of other subjects that it's not always the winning and the losing. It's the fighting in the first place. And there's plenty of men in history you remember who ended up losing in the end. Napoleon, for example, who still fought, which is why they mattered. If you're only going to fight when you're guaranteed to win, then no bravery is required. And you have to fight so that you can look back on your life and feel happy that you tried to do something when you knew it was going on before it was too late. Forget about the winning and losing for now. Focus on the fight. You must wait for the moment when the opponent's mind is scattered and strike without hesitation. If you do not overcome your tendency to give up so easily, your life will lead to nothing.
Objectify your demons so you control them instead of them controlling you. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. You have to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, especially your impulses, or else you're going to lose yourself. You will only be found by the devil once you are lost, and he will lead you to hell. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by men who kept fighting when there seemed to be no hope at all. That's a good slogan for life. You should wake up, look in the mirror, and say, suddenly, the champion returns with initiative and vengeance. I want you to pay attention to the following thing I'm going to say, because it's extremely important, because it's a mindset shift. Often, I am asked to motivate people, and what people are looking for when they want motivation is they're looking for a fire inside of them that makes them want to do hard things, or the grit and determination to push through a wall which previously they saw as insurmountable. And the reason they need motivation to do this is because they think hard is bad. They think this is hard and I need to be pushed to do this to save my bloodline, to avoid eternal slavery, to make money, whatever it is. This is hard and I need somebody to encourage me to do whatever it takes to get through it. Because you view hard in the negative. Truthfully, it is the hard things in life that are the best things in life. It's amazing how God has linked difficulty and value. There is nothing in life which is valuable, which is not hard to obtain and hard to keep. Not a single thing. That's why it has value in the first place. If gold was everywhere, nobody would care about gold. People want gold because it is hard to find. That's the whole point of it. Difficulty, value are inextricably linked. So when you see something as hard, you see something as valuable, and you have to train your mind to be excited by hard things, to feel energized by the challenge, to feel self-motivated, not externally. You're self-motivated by the chance to prove to God you deserve this hard thing. And the most beautiful thing about difficult things is that it deters a large contingent of the populace, because most people are not ready for hard. When they see hard, they quit. When they see hard, they make excuses for why they don't want it anymore. They cope. When most people see hard, they shy away from it, which is extremely important, because you only want the things you want because other people can't have them. You want that girl because other people haven't had her. If everyone's had her, you don't want her. You want that car because other people can't buy it. You want to do what other people can't do. This has been the basis of masculinity since the dawn of human time. The Egyptians built the pyramid because it was hard, so that when people saw it, they knew it was hard to do because others couldn't do it. Men wanted to be the first people to sail the 7 seas and risk their lives, to cross Antarctica and risk freezing to death, to be the first person to do it, so that everybody would say, wow, I bet that was hard. So people used to wake up and think of hard things they could possibly do. They'd wake up with a very fine and normal life, just like you are. You wake up, you have a bed, you have food, you're not freezing to death, you probably have a woman who texts you back, your life's fine, right? Some men are okay with that. Some men think, what is something hard I can do from here? In days of old, they would say, here's this unexplored land. That looks hard to get to. Let me take the risk so that my name is remembered. You should feel fantastic when you're given a challenge. When hard is put in front of you, you should say, finally, God, finally you've given me something difficult. My life has been too easy for too long. I'm too capable to live such a meager existence and simply survive.
The only shortcut to life is to never miss a day, because sometimes you get lucky, and you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top, and you've done it all off of your own back, and hard work and dedication, and never missing a day, one, because of compounding interest, and two, if you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day. And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time, was I late today? No, on time, and you try and improve every aspect of your life, and you're a professional, and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions, you give yourself feedback, you don't make mistakes, you're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. Oh, I did too. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Now you're lying to me, and that annoys me.